Hello berries, welcome to a Goldsaucer Final Fantasy XIV guide. In this guide we're going to be talking about all the different events that are inside the Goldsaucer. We're going to be talking about how you can get the most MGP per hour and per week. And we're also going to be talking and showing you guys around where the different locations are and just help more of the newer players out also in terms of how they can get involved in some of the events and things like that. So to actually get access to the Goldsaucer, if you don't have that already, there is a quest that I'll put in the description down below. And the quest itself is called It Could Happen to You, and it starts in Uldar. So you get that quite early on into your gameplay, so you should have access to the Goldsaucer relatively early on. I'm going to be taking you through everything here, and then we'll start talking about the special currency here called MGP, and the things that you can kind of get with that. So we're at the main plaza itself, the Goldsaucer Aetheryte Plaza. What we're going to be doing is going into this blue area first in the entrance square. There's a lot of people around right now because there's some events before Dawn Trail hits out, so it's quite busy, a little bit more busy than it would usually be. So here is the main plaza. Every day you're going to have something called a mini Cactpot broker that you can speak to. You can get 3 tickets from him, and it's like little scratch cards. Basically the gist of this is that you want to get a 1, 2, 3 or a 7, 8, 9 in a diagonal or a horizontal or vertical line. If basically it's just 1, 2, 3 or a 7, 8, 9. So here we have a 4, that's not very helpful, an 8. So let's scratch off a diagonal, a 7, this number could be a 9, and it's not. So this line here could still be a 1, 2, 3, so we're going to pursue that, and we weren't very lucky that time. But you'll be able to do that 3 times, so I'll just do it 2 more times because while I'm here I might as well. 7 there, an 8, is this a 9? No, it's not, of course it's not. So we can't get a 1, 2, 3 either, I don't think, because everything's already blocked off, so we'll just kind of go for something random here. I'm not really too bothered. I think that's only 144. Let's go across here. Okay, that was a decent amount of money. And we'll do one more. 6, 1, 8. Could maybe get 7, 8, 9 across the bottom here. And we could maybe get 1, 2, 3 across this line here. We got a 2, but we got a 5. We got a little bit of money. So we weren't big winners. But as you can see there, we've got the special currency called MGP. If you look at the very bottom left-hand corner, we've got a 60% boost going on. That's because 50% of that is because of a limited event called Make It Rain. On average, once every year for a couple of weeks, Square Enix has a Make It Rain event where you get 50% more MGP. The other 10% is from a free company buff called Jackpot. So if I get into free company actions, you can activate this if you are running an FC event where you or combined with the Make It Rain. If you really want lots of MGP and your free company isn't running this, then you can get a 15% buff, I believe, through Squadrons, but that's a video maybe for a different time. But just for the more advanced players that know more about that. Here at this main blue area here too, we have different vendors. So here you can buy triple Triad cards for the special currency MGP. You can see at the top we've got 1.1 million MGP. And if you want to buy any triple Triad cards, which is the card game, you can buy them with this currency if you're missing anything out in particular. Usually there are some limited time cards. Well, I say limited time, they're not limited time, but they're just like rarer cards are here that are event based, like Final Fantasy 16, 15 and other Final Fantasy games. You got Cloud there for 1 million. These 5-star cards are usually pretty good, so if you don't have a 5-star card for your deck and you do have a lot of MGP, you can pick one up to kind of like, you know, buff out your deck out a little bit. Here as well we have, you got a Mender, and you have a bunch of random other items down here at the bottom, some housing items here too. But there are a lot of cosmetics around. This MGP exchange guy, if you are under 500 currency, somehow dip under 500, which is quite difficult to be honest. You can speak to this guy and he'll give you 500 MGP for free, so you can carry on playing around and taking part in events. Prize claim on this side of the desk here. This is where you can get a lot more other stuff, so you can get cosmetics, lots of different weapon cosmetics there. Prize exchange 2, you got the classic the classic bunny outfit here, which is definitely a favorite among most people. Where's my tights? There we go. Don't I look fabulous? You've also got other things here too. You got more bunny kind of styles and outfits and other types of glamour and things like that. That looks horrendous. But anyway, you can play around with that and have a look and see what else they've got. There's a few more pages here too. You've got pets, lots of different minions to grab out. These aren't combat pets. They're just cosmetic. So you can have a little piggy walking around with you and just hanging out with you. The more expensive ones, so starting at the Adamant Tortoise, that's a mount that you can buy with MGP. All of these are mounts. And then you've got these more expensive ones. I think the one at the very end, 4 million, is a multi-seater mount. So it's one of the ways where you can get a way so you can get your friends on into your mount with you and fly them around or whatever. You can do that if you have 4 million GP. You can also buy some hairstyles and things like that too. You can buy some emotes. There's lots and lots of fun things that you can buy. You can buy wings here for 500. There's a lot of different things that you can buy here with currency, even Chocobo barding. And you can buy loads of music scrolls. There are achievements for most of these from like having like a certain amount of music. So if you're wanting to push towards a certain achievement, you're probably missing some music from the MGP. And more housing items that you can put in your house or your free company house. So that's like the reason why people right now, a lot of this stuff is minions, the mounts in particular, and the glam. The mounts are really good. The 2 million Saboteur one is like my favorite one, and that's what I'm aiming for right now. So this is the main square. That's where you can claim all your goodies after you've got the cash. But how do we get the MGP? Well, taking part in events, starting here at the Triple Triad area. So that is at the very end at the card square. You have a few things here. You can just do Triple Triad here with the NPCs that are here. Every 2 hours, you can speak to this open tournament official if you're not too sure when the next tournament is. If you sign up, well, if it tells you right there. So for me, it's in 13 minutes time, and then it'll be every 2 hours. So the event, you don't have to be here on the dot. You have about 20 minutes to sign in, and then if you've arrived here on the dot, you can usually get into another game. And from doing the open tournament, you get some Triple Triad cards that you can only get from doing the open tournament. So if you're really into Triple Triad and collecting all the cards, you have to kind of do this open tournament in order to get some of the cards that you're probably missing. Also, you earn a little bit of MGP from doing that. Also, back at that desk, also you can sell any spare Triple Triad cards for MGP. So when you're doing Triple Triad out in the wild, outside the Goldsaucer or in the Goldsaucer, any spare cards that don't get added to your collection, they'll be put in your inventory. And you can just sell those at the vendor for MGP. So make sure you don't destroy them, bring them back to the Goldsaucer here, and make some extra MGP with your spare cards. Every 2 weeks, for 1 week, there is a tournament for the Battlehall. So I did a tournament last week where you battle NPCs or other players. You rack up points. You get a bunch of MGP for doing that, and also you get... So I got 31k MGP for doing that, and I got some premium platinum Triple Triad cards. Pretty cool, huh? To get access to the Battlehall, I believe you have to do a little quest will be around here where you have to battle all the people down here. But if you press U and go into your duty finder, at the end you got Goldsaucer. Lots of different Goldsaucer here, but if you go to the Battlehall here, if you join into that, we'll just fly into there right now. But basically there'll be NPCs here dotted around. You can see there's already people doing Triple Triad here. You got NPC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These will all have new cards for you. So if you're missing any cards, once again, you can battle all of these. But also these are the NPCs minus this hall overseer. So the 4 in the corner, these are the NPCs that you would come to on that bi-weekly tournament to do your tournament fighting. If you would beat these NPCs and you get tournament points, if you lose then you don't get quite as many. And at the end of the tournament week on a Tuesday, speak to the NPC that I did upstairs, and then you'll get your reward. And then you have to wait another week until you can take part in again. Or once again, you can just come back down here and just battle. Lots of people battle with each other down here too as well on occasion. So if you want to battle some players in Triple Triad, you can do that down there too. That's nice because you can sign up from that anywhere in the world. You don't have to be specifically on the Goldsaucer to do that. Right, that is everything in the blue area. We're going to be going up and taking the lift upstairs. I'm going to take the Choco lift. And we are going to walk north. So in north of this area, you've got two little things here. I say too little. One little thing is onto your right, you have a Cuff-a-Cur, which is, you'll find a lot of these machines around. We'll go through them all. The Cuff-a-Cur is just a simple machine where you pay 1 MGP to go. And basically, you want to hit the middle part here when hitting the button to get the most. So that's kind of off a little bit. But you get more MGP. So you can see already, you only paid 1. And to be fair, I have got extra buffs here, an extra 60%. But you can see you can make a little bit of extra money by playing around with those little machines. So this is all to do with Chocobo Racing. I myself, if you go to character, then Goldsaucer, you have access to other things, including seeing the triple Triad cards. Just gonna a little bit of a brag here. I'm gonna click on pedigree, and I got a perfect statted Chocobo at max level. But this took me hours, a lot of time. So the Chocobo Racing itself is really fun. It's kind of like a short version of Mario Kart in a way. But there's a whole system behind it with breeding and training, and that is a whole system in itself. But if you want to dive into that and kind of get a feel of what's going on with it, then go to this desk here. They have a couple of training missions here from the Chocobo registrar. Speak to her. If you're forgotten all about Chocobo Racing, if you've already done it, so you've got a training course here that will kind of go through it and then kind of put you off in the right direction. But we're not going to fully dive into that, but we'll be talking about that a little bit more in terms of MGP earnings. Spin around, go back south here. Let's hit the sprint button. Take a little left here into this blue area, and here you'll find a very popular area here. We have the Finer Miner on the left hand side, and we also have Out on a Limb on the right. There's a lot of people here because Out on a Limb is actually pretty good MGP farm. I'm going to talk about more about MGP farming later on, but this is a good way to basically get MGP. Moving on into Lord of Verminion, which is, I believe, one of the more recent Goldsaucer entries here. You've also got another minigame at the back with the Moogle's Paw. But the Lord of Verminion is basically a whole another game in itself in terms of like the Chocobo Racing and how that has systems. This Lord of Verminion has a bunch of single player things that you can do here, single player kind of missions like RTS style, where you're protecting like 3 crystals and you've got to try and kill the enemy's 3 crystals before they kill yours. And you can kind of use your own minions also to fight with, which is kind of cool. So any minions that you kind of accrue across playing, you can use them in this event. And there are some really good ways to making MGP here, which I'll talk about later on. But this is where Lord of Verminion is, and it's a little bit complicated at first, but honestly it's not really too bad, and you probably end up finding yourself doing a few games every week. The Moogle's Paw is another little fun mini game where you right click, you spend 1 GP again. Left button here moves the Moogle over to the right, so then you let go to stop, and then once again to go up. Apparently I missed it. We got scammed, but basically that's that Claw event. What we're going to do now is we are going to take this Etheric shard and we're going to head back to the Goldsaucer Etheric Plaza. Next, we are going to go north into the green area here, which is called the Round Square, which I'm not sure that is such a thing as a round square, but we're going up here anyway. And here we have a couple of events. We have Cliffhanger, one of 2 Cliffhanger events, which is a baby jumping puzzle where you will go up to the top and save a Chocobo chick. I'll explain how to enter those in a second. And also this area here where there's a lot of people waiting. We have event starts for Air Force 1, which is a airplane, kind of like a roller coaster ride where you're shooting down targets. Try not to shoot the red bombs, and just a few points and try and get the perfect score of 5,000 at the end for the best MGP score. You've also got some Leap of Faiths here, which are like big jumping puzzles. If you've ever played like Guild Wars 2, you'll probably be very familiar with jumping puzzles Just trying to collect all the Cactpot statues along the way, and try and get the final gold statue at the end for the most MGP and get to the end, and that's that. It's pretty fun, if not a bit stressful for the first few times you've ever done it. So if we swing back around here now and go east, we are heading towards the event square, where there's a few more events that get held here. So on this circular arena here, there are two main events here that happen. Those are Any Way the Wind Blows and The Slice is Right. One's more RNG than the other. Basically, the Any Way the Wind Blows is pretty RNG. I'd recommend just don't stand on the edge of the circle. But honestly, after that, it doesn't really matter too much where you stand. It is completely RNG. The Slice is Right is a little bit more skill-based, but does have an element of RNG to it. The bamboo sticks that Jimbo slices down, you can read them in terms of seeing where they're going to be cut and how they're going to be cut. The RNG elements are when he puts down the 3 cups down on the ground and spins them around. That's completely RNG, whether or not you get extra MGP, or if you get kicked out of the arena, or you get absolutely nothing. So don't feel too bad if you aren't following the cup. It's once again completely RNG. It's impossible to track the actual cup. They change it up at the very end. Also in the square here we have Cuff-a-Cur, which is the same one in the Chocobo square. And then on the other side here we have some more Moogle Claw games. But we're going to go upstairs here since we've already looked at those machines. So upstairs here, so we talked about the mini Cactpot kind of scratch cards earlier. Up here we have the jumbo Cactpot. So once every week on my server, it is a Saturday, if I'm correct. Saturday 8 PM UK time, which is UK time. They do a draw. So if you speak to the jumbo Cactpot broker, you can get 3 tickets where you can put in 4 different numbers in. It's totally worth doing because even if you do get losing numbers, the minimum prize is more than paying for the tickets itself. You just have to come here and claim your reward every single time in order to do it. So if you forget to come back after a week, then you kind of lost out on those tickets that you claimed. So as long as you're able to come back and claim it, you got like slightly under a week to claim the reward from your tickets. Just make sure you do that. So you do the tickets, the announcements on a Saturday. Make sure you claim it before the next draw gets done. Then you'll be fine. The consolation prizes usually you get around about 1,000-ish MGP minimum. Jackpot is over 1 million, so it's totally worth doing. If you can get 1 million MGP, you can get a lot of goodies with that. Moving on, what we're going to do here, we're going to jump down. We're going to jump down. Oh, also a little tip, by the way. If you do want to get up to these the higher balcony areas, these circles here, if you jump on them, they kind of like water cannon you up, just in case you have any trouble navigating around. But we are going to go back down. We're going to head towards the yellow square, the Wonder Square. So in the Wonder Square, we have a few more different machines here and another Cliffhanger event, very similar to the Cliffhanger event all the way to the north. Go save a baby chick. You make your all the way to the top, save a chick at the top. That's basically it. Here we have Monster Toss, which is a basketball game, which if I click it, I'm going to get locked into for about 30 seconds. But basically, you got to score, at least try and score 5 points to get the maximum payout. It's 30 seconds. And I'm honestly just terrible at this one. So you got to try and get the bar into that highlighted area. I told you, I'm absolutely terrible. Right, can we get one? Oh yeah, we got one! So yeah. That is basically the gist of this game. If you're better than me, then yeah, I'm absolutely horrendous. Moves too fast for my old boomer reflexes now. Is that in? It is in! Right, we got 2 points, which is 20 MGP. On the opposite side, we have the Crystal Strike Tower. Crystal Tower Striker. Which is a lot like you just whack a hammer down onto the ground and you got to try and get out to the pink at the top. Wow. And we've got 15 MGP for that. Fantastic. And then if you make your way upstairs, there is a mini game that no one really talks about. For a good reason. It's Mahjong. There's Mahjong up here. If you want to play Mahjong, then you can do that up here. I don't know anyone that plays this properly. There are a few achievements to do Mahjong. I'm not a Mahjong player. I tried it once and I didn't understand the pongs and the other stuff. Yeah, there's something about where you got to get like 3 melds and then a pair, and it's like rummy or something. But I've never played rummy either. So if you want to play Mahjong, that's upstairs. And then also during limited time periods, completely random. At the moment it's on right now, but you have the limited Fall Guys event, which is here too. If we speak to this guy, he'll take us in. There's also a couple of these Blunderville gatekeepers that are around that will also teleport you, and then you've got the whole Fall Guys kind of stuff over here, which is a lot of fun. You got the whole music and stuff as well if I had the music activated. You've also got the register here, so you speak to the registrar here and you can sign up. The currency here is different to the rest of Goldsaucer. So the currency they use here is called it's like MGF instead of MGP, just to add to a little bit more confusion. And you can buy lots of little cosmetic things with these. So got a nice little cool hoodie and got a crown. And then also you got mounts and minions and housing items, and you've got dyes as well to glam up your gear. So if you're around when Fall Guys event's on, I do recommend giving it a little go. It's a lot of fun. It's like an assault course. So yeah, that is basically all there is to do at the moment at the Goldsaucer. A couple of tips that I'll give you. So every 20 minutes in real life time, there will be an event. And if you're ever not sure if there's an event up, just when you press M, there might be this exclamation mark here. So here it's saying that there's a Cliffhanger event. So at that round square that we were seeing it earlier, there's a Cliffhanger event where you got to save the baby Chocobo. And then once again at 20 past, there'll be an event. And then 22 there'll be an event, and at the o'clock there'll be an event. So every 20 minutes there's always going to be one of the events that I mentioned, whether it's Leap of Faith or Air Force One, or something in the round square. Something will be going on, and they're always worth doing in terms of getting the maximum amount of MGP per hour if you're here to grind out MGP. Also dotted around in there are some gatekeepers, so if you ever want to find out when the next event is, if you kind of forgotten the information when it's every 20 minutes, you've also got the fact that they will teleport you to. If you speak to them, you can be instantly teleported to that area. Also, you have these kind of announcements at the top. So right now there's also an open tournament, triple triad going on at the same time because it's 6 o'clock here in the UK, and every 2 hours is a triple triad event. One other thing I nearly forgot to brush over on is the the fashion event. So every Friday, we speak to this guy. He's quite rude to you but basically you have to kind of fit the fashion that he's asking, and there's a fashion score, and if you get up to 100 you get more MGP. I'll put a link in the description of a YouTuber who does these kind of fashion reports every week to try and get you the most MGP every week. These are worth doing if you can be bothered, because you do get a hefty chunk of MGP. Just know that getting 100 can be quite difficult, as it may require specific dyes or specific items in the kind of like harder places. Some of the reports are easy to do, some of them are actually quite difficult. So you won't get 100 every single time unless you're like really committed in doing that. So just that you're fully aware, and it can, people say that this is the single best MGP event to do every time, but if you are having to go around a lot and gathering the gear, that means you're not gathering MGP at the same time, if that makes sense. So do factor that in when people are saying that this is the best. It's good MGP, don't get me wrong, but if you're having to do a bunch of other stuff, a bunch of other dungeons and things like that to get a specific item to fit the glam, and then having to buy the dye and stuff, it adds up in terms of time spent doing that instead of MGP events. So yeah, if you already have the items, then obviously it's pretty worth it. So actually, in terms of MGP, what are like the best MGP things to do? So the fashion report is kind of one of the things that you should look at doing. But if you go to the bottom corner and you go to your logs, and if you go to challenge logs, if you haven't got challenge logs, then you need to activate them, because not only for MGP farming, for a lot of reasons, you should have the challenge log, because you get basically free XP and free gil all the time. I'll once again put a thing down below in the description regarding challenge logs in case you haven't got that unlocked. Everyone should have that unlocked. I've heard lots of people in their 60s and 70s not having challenge log. You get challenge log way before then. Okay, so make sure you pick that up. So in the challenge log, you got Goldsaucer. And you get a lot of rewards, and they also are inflated by things like the Make It Rain event. So you got some basic ones here: complete 3 minigames. And there's some MGP from some minigames. Completing gates, which are the every 20 minutes there's that event. Those are called gates. So you get quite a lot of MGP just from taking part in the gates. There's MGP rewards for doing Chocobo races. Not only taking part, but also winning. MGP for doing triple Triad matches. Triple Triad for doing matches in the Battlehall, so that's when you press U and go into the duty finder. Go into Goldsaucer, and then into the Battlehall there. You win a bunch of games there, you get some MGP. You've also got Verminion. So the main reason why Verminion's done is just purely because the amount of MGP that this gives is absolutely insane. So 5,000 for that first one. Playing 2 more is another 10,000. And playing 2 more on top of that is another 12,000. So just from the Verminion alone, you're going to get 27,000 MGP, not including buffs. Don't bother with the Mahjong unless you love Mahjong, because that's going to take way too long for 5,000. I would not recommend doing that. That one is one that I will never do. But everything else there is absolutely worth doing. Maybe you haven't got a triple Triad, good triple Triad deck, so you might struggle in some of the areas. So that one might not necessarily be worth it. But like taking part in some of the Chocobo races at least, and doing the gates 100%, and the mini games totally do. This is a really good way. Every week, do every Tuesday reset. You need MGP. You should be coming to do here. Go in and doing this log. Every day, you should be looking to do the mini Cactpot. So that was back at the entrance square. The guy there at the very front, on the front desk. Get those 3 tickets done once every day. Once every week again, you want to make sure you get the jumbo from the Cactpot board. You want to make sure you get your tickets and you claim your rewards. Good chunk of easy MGP just from doing that. You are also, in terms of if you wanted to actually grind out MGP per hour, the best way to do it straight away with no investment whatsoever is back at the woodcutting area. So if you just head back over there right now, Chocobo Square, and then we will turn around and go back down here. So this is why this player is so busy, is because it is a complete skill-based game though, I will say. If you find these mini games hard, you're going to want to do it on the Titan setting, which is the hardest one. So just going to click on it now. Plus 1 MGP to start. But you see where it says the red line there? That's the hardest one, and this only becomes worth it if you are capable of doing it. I couldn't even land on it. But basically the gist of it is that it's like hot or cold. So that is cold, which means that the pin's going to be on the completely opposite side. So now it's probably going to be in the middle. When we hit excellent, if you hit good, then you're near to excellent, and it chops down this wood bar, this bar down here, to the end, and then it means you go to the next level. So every time you get to the next level, you can choose to cash out, or you can get the double down payout. But the reason, I'm going to say no here, but the reason why that's so good is because on Titan mode, I'm going to try and see if I can get it. It's, there we go. The cash reward, the MGP reward is a lot. But you can see this pin is crazy. We missed completely, so it's not going to be at the top. In the middle somewhere. So it's somewhere in the middle, but I'm not going to be able to get anywhere near the middle. So it's closer towards that pin. That drops down the tree. So around there, probably slightly to the south would have been the excellent. But you can see, like, as you cash out and out and out and out, some people are really, really good at this. And you can get like 700-ish per time. If you make it to like level 4 or 5, it does escalate a lot further than that. And people just sit here and just farm this all the time. And then every 20 minutes, they would normally go do the gate, spend a couple minutes just doing the gate, get a few thousand MGP from doing that. Coming back here and then grinding out. If you aren't great honestly at games like this, the skill kind of games, I would highly recommend you look into, and you want to do MGP for a long time, I would honestly highly recommend the Chocobos. The Chocobo Racing required me around about 150,000 MGP investment in terms of buying special Chocobo feed, buying breeding certificates. I'm not going to quite go into all the mechanics of that, but you kind of need about 150 to 200k investment into Chocobo Racing. But the fantastic thing about Chocobo Racing is once you've got your perfect Chocobo, you can make a lot of MGP. So the Chocobo Racing has rating brackets. So you can see my Chocobo is 300 rated in a Chocobo rating bracket of 241 to 300. When you're first starting out in Chocobo Racing, you'll be in the lower brackets. So you'll be like rating around about 20, 40, 60, kind of like that area. And as you rank your Chocobo up, and you get higher pedigrees of Chocobos from doing breeding and inbreeding. Inbreeding is very pog in Chocobo Racing. You'll be trying to build and get your perfect Chocobo. And the ratings end up going up, but with the ratings means harder maps. Harder, I say, is not really that much difficult. But the rewards are bigger. So more XP for your Chocobo and more MGP. So if I just jump into a race here, so if you go to Duty Finder, into Goldsaucer, you got Chocobo races here. You can also sign up to Mahjong here, by the way. Wouldn't recommend it unless you really love Mahjong. But you have that too. And you've also got Lord Verminion, which is the thing that you should do 5 times. So if you don't want to head back to the Goldsaucer, you can come back here and kind of do like a PvE mode here. You can got the hard and extreme. Just choose like a basic master battle. But yeah, I'll just choose this this Chocobo race here. It doesn't take that long to get in. So this is why it's really, really good too. So it can usually be instant queue. Sometimes if they're, you can maybe wait like up to like maximum 30 seconds. I've had to ever wait for a Chocobo race, but you usually get in very near instantly. I'd say this is actually quite a long time we're on right now, though we're not quite in. But you basically, when you get to an end game stage, you will, with the buffs I've gone on right now, if I come first place, I get 1,600 MGP, and it only takes about 2 minutes. So I'm getting around about 800 MGP per minute just from doing this. On the left here as well, the green names are NPCs and the blues are players. So I think I'm familiar with this red player as well that also does Chocobo Racing. We both got the same thing going here, where we use Super Sprint. You gotta dodge the obstacles. So I'm going to try and grief him a little bit. Because I got to come first. This is a YouTube video, I'm afraid, Red. But I've seen Red in here a lot. He farms Chocobo Racing quite a lot. Because it's just really, really good MGP. And really, really low effort too. Once you look into... I would honestly look into a Super Sprint build. If this is something that you want to look into. But yeah, the races only take around about 1 minute 38-ish, I think, at this point. When you get to this kind of stage. I missed that treasure chest completely. We're gonna come first. Yeah, sorry, Red. We had to come first for a YouTube video, I'm afraid. So, bit fair under 138. I think I must have been thinking of a different course. 118. Coming first. So this is going to include the plus 60% from free company buff. And it's going to include the make it rain plus 50%. But it's still the most reliable way of low effort MGP farming in the entire game. There is another method as well with Triple Triad, where there are some specific NPCs out in the world where you can farm. And you have a chance of getting, you get the MGP from beating the people doing, you get roughly around about 100-ish MGP for beating someone in a Triple Triad and NPC. The harder difficulty ones, and then they also have a chance of giving you a card, and you can use those spare cards that I was talking about earlier to sell at the main square, make you extra MGP. But once again, that requires you having a good Triple Triad deck. Doing some research, honestly, in terms of identifying which kind of people to beat, but that is like another option if you don't want to invest into Chocobo Racing. You're utterly useless like me at the wood cutting game. That is another way to like get into some decent MGP farm. I will say that's a lot more boring and a lot more active, at least for me. It's like, it's not doing, I love doing Triple Triad, but like just grinding out the same NPC 100 to 1,000 times isn't as interesting for me as I could just press Super Sprint in Chocobo Racing, minimum effort, and kind of like read something else on my second monitor while it's going on. And then the other good thing about this as well is that because you know that an event's every 20 minutes, so once it gets like about 18 minutes past, for example, I will then go into the E-Fright Square and just kind of wait for that the gate to pop up. So yeah, that is basically the essence of everything. I will say MGP farming for the Fall Guys event is an option, but the rates of the woodcutting and the Chocobo Racing and the Triple Triad card stuff isn't as high, but it's something new. It's something fresh to do, and definitely helps break up the monotony of doing everything else. And there's another way of getting MGP, but once again, that's skill-based. So make sure that you are good at that. Otherwise, it's just not going to be as good MGP farm as some of the other more low-effort stuff. So yeah, all the best, guys. Hope that kind of helps you out and puts you in the right direction. And yeah, make sure you subscribe if you want to see some more Final Fantasy XIV content.